Hey, mortal con. It's time for a tale. Alright, now. Long ago, there was a carver who had an ugly, scarred appearance that was very good at making realistic looking statues, but isolated him from people because people thought he was scary and creepy due to his looks. The goddess of beauty of the goddess of beauty and love, the ascendant whose true name was Astarte, came to him because she heard there was an ugly little man living in her village and sought to do something about it. What she found was a man devoted to her who had a simple request upon seeing the goddess and being so kind to her that wanted to obtain love too. The goddess pretended to be cordial to him and found him repulsive and made him a woman. By animating and giving soul through magic into was one of his most beautiful sculptures and creating Galatea. The man was grateful, for he thought it was an answer to his prayers. Until Galatea took his soul with a kiss in her embrace. Galatea would later become a weapon of divine judgment to target the lonely and desperate, believing in a twisted sense of right and wrong and of love, by purifying them from the earth under the false promise of love under the goddess's orders. Long after her lady had been defeated and sealed away, she did not give up her mission even into the modern era. To Galatea, people's ugliness and their willingness to pursue her, and their lack of commitment made them undesirables who needed to be purged. She speaks sweetly and looks beautiful, though her true appearance is an inky, black, shape-changing succubus-like entity that uses a weathered, stone-like marble body as a shell for itself that it often envelops itself in, while its true appearance hides under the cracked, lovely-looking face while using illusions to people's desires to appear to as their ideal women. Even though the Celestials that are loyal to the gods of creation call it monstrous and heroes stop it from preying upon people, it views itself as a divine agent of judgment and punishment still. After all, the world belongs only to those with true beauty, and only those that with true beauty deserve real love, and anyone with defects is clearly a sinner. So guys, let me tell you about a little game, that's in the Final Fantasy Legends series. You see, in that game, there's a little goddess known as Venus, and she, strictly enforces her own weird, rigid beauty standards. And, part of the plot is, helping this one dude who, got very scarred, get love from one of the ladies, and that lady, was, not allowed to do it because she was beautiful and he was ugly, and the goddess wanted to keep them apart, so, that lady, kind of scarred her face and, was like, see, I'm ugly now, so I can leave. Yeah, and that range the goddess Obi, so basically the main character was insulting the goddess and basically saying she's basically a vain, evil, egotistical bitch, which she is, to be honest. And then they got into a boss fight. Yeah, the hero kicked her butt, by the way, and got rid of her. Yeah, good riddance, really. And of course, Astarte, in this, she's one of, the Ascended, which is part of, the evil bad guy angles that, are traitors to the gods of creation. They, we're the ones responsible for tricking humans and opening the box of evils and, basically infecting their psyches with the power of the great evils. Yeah, they figured they, would be able to use it to basically blame humanity for, opening it, and, pretending that they were justified, and pretending that it was their fault. So they could go around and try to justify war crimes, but, the goddess was like, no, that's not how things are gonna work. You guys get the fuck out of my sight and get the fuck out of my world. Also, you're demoted and you're mortal now. And also, a spider's gonna come and kill you. Yeah, that last part is, alright, all those parts are not a joke. No, I did use a whole bunch of swear words, the goddess of creation, is significantly nicer than I am about that. So I apologize for that rude language. Yeah, please don't, drop F-bombs, okay? I mean, it's funny when Cartman does it, South Park, but, you shouldn't be like Cartman, no. Anyway, basically, this version of Galatea, Actually, it kind of reminds me of that horror game where there was Pygmalion who was like a well, and they were using a fake mermaid, that was named Galatea to try and trick people into trying to trick people by pretending that they were, that Galatea was like an innocent soul that was like cursed to be stuck in a well or something. It was a complete lie, of course. I should probably clarify that because people have poor media literacy. Yeah, I mean, if anything shows that people have poor media literacy, it's free rent. Okay. Anyway, I'll see you later. Okay. Goodbye. Goodbye.